Okay, so quick disclaimer here before I start this video, because the person who I'm making this video about, he is very, very litigious. Not that I'm worried. I'll explain later, okay? This is probably going to be a multi-part series because it is a long and rambling story, but the payout at the end is very, very worth it. I've been wanting to make this video for a really long time, but, you know, since I was working in legal brothels and I didn't want to attract the rage of this unhinged lunatic towards my places of work or myself while he was in close physical proximity to me. I held back on this, okay? Since he is very litigious, I will not be using his name, and I will be double, triple, and quadruple checking this video before I post it to ensure that that does not happen, okay? If the dude chooses to show up in my comment section and identify himself by freaking out and trying to defend himself, that would be on him, not on me, because I'm not even going to include his real name, okay? All of the information, though, that I know about this guy is all public information through a bunch of different court records, news articles, his own social media posts, and interactions that I've had, like via email and like Instagram DMs between the two of us, okay? So it's like none of these things are, you know, like private information, okay? Literally any person can very easily find it. And maybe he should have thought about the things that he did before he did them that would later become public record if he didn't want people to think a certain type of way about him. Okay, disclaimer over, but let's get into it. This is a passion project and the brothel tea that I have been dying to spill. Let's get into it. This story, unfortunately, begins some point in late 2022, early 2023, when I started receiving some emails from the dude. I'm just going to call him the dude, fuck it. So the dude starts emailing me, and like I've been escorting independently and, you know, just doing other forms of sex work for like, you know, over like a decade at that point, and I could see a time waster. I mean, I skimmed the first couple sentences of the email, and I was very easily able to determine that this guy was like a waste of time. Didn't really look into the emails, forgot about it, whatever. Well, flash forward a couple months, and I get off of work, and it was like 4:00 in the morning. I'm at the brothel, and I'm drunk, and I'm going through my phone and looking at my emails, and I see that the guy reached out again. But this time I actually read the email, okay? And dude was like trying to say that he was opening another brothel in a nearby town, and that he would love for me to come and work there, blah, 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 blah. So the first thing I do, I'm like, oh, really? What's this? You know, that's kind of weird and poachy, you know? But so anyways, I look up, I believe that it was West Wendover, which is right next to Utah and right next to all of the Mormons. Okay. So for a little bit of context here. Okay. So I look up new legal brothel opening in West Wendover, and all I see is articles about how the city has made all these ordinances about how they will never, ever, ever do that. And so I go back and I reread the email, and it's like, and, you know, kind of look at a map because I'm not living in Nevada at that point. And I'm determining that it's like, bro, you want me to come out to a brothel that does not exist in the middle of the desert for why? Okay. Red flags just going up everywhere. So and I'm drunk, I'm feeling froggy. So I emailed him back. And also I had another important piece of information. He has a picture of himself like attached to his email contact thingy. And he looks creepy as shit. Like his face is so creepy. Okay. Just off first impressions, creepy as fuck. Okay. For two, he signed it with like his email signature was the name of his LLC. Okay. And So I message him back because my line of thinking is like, I think I'm a relatively smart person. I'm at least have a little bit of common sense, right? And I was quickly able to determine that this guy is on some bullshit and a fucking creeper who is trying to lure sex workers to the middle of the desert to work somewhere that does not exist. So what would you do when they get there? Okay. I could see this. Maybe other girls wouldn't be able to see this and would fall for it and get hurt in some way. So I messaged him back and I cussed him the fuck out. I'm like, you know, you creepy bitch. Why are you trying to lure sex workers into the middle of the desert? Go fuck yourself. I'm happy where I'm working right now, you know. Also very, very predatory and poachy to try to poach other brothels as employees, you know, like fuck off, dude. So I fall asleep shortly after that. And, you know, this is at the brothel. So I wake up in the morning and my boss is knocking on the door, on my room's door. And he is like, he's like, just so you, he's like, I got an email about you. And I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, I heard that you're really ableist and you've upset, you upset this dude. He's like, I'm not mad at you, but that's fucking hilarious. Honestly, he's a creep. Don't worry about him. He's been, you know, around for a while. So I'm like, what? So anyways, this guy, he goes and he had emailed my boss off of the brothel's website to tell my boss that I am a ableist person that is discriminating against him because he has a facial disability. And this facial disability is a very weird, facial disability is a word that he, like a term that he actually uses himself. Okay. But very weird. I've never heard of a facial disability. I'm like, what, ugly? Well, no, I come to find out that it is actually Mobius syndrome and half of his face is paralyzed and he was born that way. Okay. So I look back in, I'm like, how dare you, bitch? How dare you try to get me in trouble with my job? Okay. You stalker. So, I reopened the emails and he changed his email signature that used to be his LLC's name to Paralyzed Face Productions. Just to try to be like, gotcha. And, you know, to clarify, like, if I had mistakenly called a disabled person who actually does have a very real disability that affects their face, if I at some point had called them ugly or creepy looking out of pocket, you know, I feel like this would be a whole entire different story. But I did call him a creepy looking bitch, okay? Because he was being creepy, okay? And being disabled does not give you a free pass to be a fucking lunatic who tries to lure women into the middle of the desert under false pretenses. He was being creepy. I could tell just from the very small icon-sized picture that he looked creepy. And so I called him a creepy bitch, just to clarify. So, you know, after like, you know, that drama was over and I figured out that I wasn't actually in trouble. He's very well known. I'm like, what's up with this guy? Because, you know, you're stalking me. You're stalking my job. You're trying to get me in trouble at my workplace. So what the fuck is up with this dude? So I start looking into him. And the web of batshit insanity that I ended up unraveling about this guy literally kept me occupied for like a year straight, watching YouTube videos, listening podcasts, like literally anything I could find on this guy. It was all hilarious. I mean, I really, really had a lifetime's worth of entertainment that I uncovered about this man. And that's what I'm going to get into in this video's second part. So stay tuned for that.